Well, wow, this has been an amazing week here at North Central. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, say the least.
Truly. In case you missed it, this past Friday, our Board of Regents voted in Scott Hagan as our 7th president here at North Central University. And then he came back this week, and he's had time with our faculty, with our staff, our students, administration, and just really tons of meetings and being able to really get connected and get to know people here. On Tuesday, we had a chapel service, and I don't know if I've been part of a service like that. It was unbelievable as we celebrated Dr. Anderson, but also introduced our new president, Scott Hagan, and his wife, Karen. Scott, this has probably been quite a roller coaster this last week. Why don't you talk to us about some of the highlights you've experienced?
Well, it has been nothing but a series of highlights. You think you've hit the height of the highlight, and then something else happens. It really started last Friday, a week ago, when the Board of Regents gathered and we met, and they confirmed the invitation for us to be the president, which really culminated 9 months of just this whole process, which we've had to carry confidentially, and also not knowing if it was really going to happen because it's a process with many, many people. You got hundreds of people whose hearts and minds have to warm and wrap themselves around this. And then when it actually happened, it was a deeply spiritual thing, Andrew, not just a institutional, not just a protocol, not just the process of a committee. It felt very biblical, and yet it was done with just impeccable excellence as far as a university, how they went about this. We have just been treated like family. You know, sometimes people say they're treated like a king and a queen. I think it's better to be treated like family, and we have been treated extraordinarily well, beginning with the great leader of this institution and university, Dr. Gordon Anderson, and his wife, Diane. They have loved us, welcomed us in such a genuine way. I think everybody as part of the university could feel that there was not something just kind of fake about this. That has meant the world to us. And so it's been a tremendous week. We met with just a variety of the department heads and the directors and the VPs. You've just done a tremendous job, Andrew, as Vice President of University Relations. Your team is second to none. And the other VPs and the deans and the directors have just been incredibly talented, caring people who love this university and love these students in a way that really has taken me back. I already had a very high opinion, and this week has just taken it off the charts. So we are very excited. I can't wait to get here full time in May and then begin as president June 1st. So we're all in. The chapel was probably the highlight this week. And being with the students, feeling their love, feeling their anticipation. A couple of them told me, hey, I'm making certain my little brother, my little sister are coming to NCU. So they could feel the future already unfolding and just the grace of what happened. And so future is incredible for this. I really believe this university is going to be a magnet across the nation and the world to draw in just promising leaders from all over the place. So fantastic experience in week one.
Wonderful. Well, Ron, you've played kind of an important role here for North Central. The past 7 years, you've been our chairman of our board. And this last year, you had the challenge, a great challenge, opportunity to find Dr. Gordon Anderson's replacement. And you've served as our co-chair. Talk about the process the last 11 months, and also talk about what's the board saying right now and feeling about Scott Hagan.
Well, the process is interesting because the Constitution and bylaws of North Central University call for the board to select the next president, but it doesn't really give a process. It could be done in any way. Could have been done with a small group of board members sitting in a room deciding, well, I think this person would be a good person to have. But no, we chose to go with just a reputable company, Carter Baldwin, led by Price Harding, a tremendous man, a man of incredible discernment. I just really leaned on him through this process. The first thing he did was put together a presidential search committee made up of faculty members, administrators, vice presidents, board members, and Tony was a part of that process, our student leader, and then the alumni. Just different individuals who came together, and we then threw out a broad net. Hundreds and hundreds of people looked at the profile. We had over 150 applicants to deal with and go through that process. And then we began meeting and whittling it down from 25 to 10 to 4 to 1. And when we got to The one. That was an interesting moment because in my heart, I really wanted it to be a unanimous vote at that point, and lots of discussion back and forth and sharing of hearts. And there was just a moment where it was as if God just showed up and said, "This is the one, and this is my choice." We took secret ballots, we cast our ballots, we looked, 100% unanimous. And then roll the clock forward. That was December 2nd. Roll the clock forward to February 10. Full board, 50 people in the room. We shared the profile, which they had had a week prior. And then Scott and Karen shared their hearts. They left. We took the vote. And it was by ballot, by secret ballot, 100% unanimous on both counts. And I'm telling you, in those moments, you realize this is far bigger than one person figuring out who our next leader ought to be, but it's the collective voice of the university and representative people. And I know that we arrived at that point where God wanted us to be.
What a great journey. What a great journey. You mentioned that our very own Tony over here served as, he's our student body president, served on the search committee. Love to hear your perspective of when you knew Scott Hagan is the man for this job, that God's called to be our president. And also share what the students are saying this week.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had an interesting perspective, or when we first received the packet of all of the resumes of all the people who had been entered in, I read through all of those, and for some reason, when I went into that first meeting, in my mind, Scott Hagan was the next president. And throughout the process, other people came to mind, and I processed through some of the other things. I didn't go in assuming, okay, that's true, and I'm just gonna operate with that. But then when we did the interviews and I first met him, there was something about when he walked into the room just changed in such a powerful way for me, and it was just in that moment, listening to him talk about his passion for people, but his passion for North Central was just so powerful to me. And at that moment, I was like, I think this is it. I think this is our next president that's in the room with us right now. And it was just so powerful for me. And yeah, it was just a difficult process, but it was so valuable. Monday, we had a group of student leaders meet in the book conference room with Scott, and just hearing them share their hearts. There's so much excitement throughout the students for what's to come. There's so much excitement for what's going to happen in future years, and everybody just has a confidence that North Central is going to continue to grow and continue to be stronger, and continue to put out different leaders in the marketplace and in vocational ministry, which is super exciting.
Great.
Well, I can tell you from the staff and faculty administration perspective, there is a skip in people's steps. There's a level of energy and excitement that the best is yet to come. I mean, we honor and celebrate Dr. Gordon Anderson, who has served and provided amazing leadership, but we can tell that even greater days are ahead of us. And I guess in closing, Scott, why don't you just share your perspective on our future and any other last thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate Tony's kind words, because I felt the same way when I walked in that room from the 13 people, the quality and the grace upon that team. I knew 3 of the individuals in that first interview, but the rest were new relationships to me. And I felt that same way about that team of people. And I walked away saying I could do life and leadership and things for the kingdom with this group of people. That was my takeaway even before I knew what the vote would be at that time. And the chair of this whole thing, Ron Bontrager right here, has given up an enormous amount of time from his church at Lakeview. And if anybody from Lakeview is watching this, which I hope they are, on just behalf of the whole North Central community, we are so thankful for Lakeview Church and its elders and deacons lending this leader to the kingdom of God. And so thank you, Lakeview Church. Yes. I get a chance to come and meet your church this summer. You do. Looking forward to it. And so, we are overwhelmed with all the potential and possibilities of this place. I think leadership is about being able to sense an environment that there's portions unrealized, the yet to be, yet to come. What's unique about North Central is, since 1930, and this is an unscripted stump speech from my soul right here. I wrote down, as I've been praying for the university, inspiring leadership since 1930. And you can read that 2 ways. It has been a place of inspiring leadership, and they've been inspiring new leadership for the kingdom and for this world. My daughter's a graduate of this university. It changed her life. She came into this space between that critical age of 18 to 22, into this socio-academic setting that developed her heart and her mind, her intellect and her spirit simultaneously. So that when she graduated from here in her early 20s, she was able to immediately begin to build her career in the financial industry. She had the tools, the know-how, she knew how to interview. All of that happened here, as well as taking her faith, her walk and passion for Christ to the next level. I believe that this is our most sacred asset in the Assemblies of God. And I know many of our students here are non-Assemblies of God. It's a wide open university that reaches so many young people. But I think it's our most sacred asset, Andrew, that is marked by spirit and scholarship. Because that's what's marked Dr. Anderson, and that's the culture of this place. I believe students from all over the country. I've already recruited 7 students in the last month for this fall. I said, you got to come. I'm starting as a freshman this September, so you got to start your freshman year with me. It has been a natural and simple story to tell, and there's thousands of students out there like that. And so if you're an alumni, if you're a student, if you are a part of this school, if you're just interested in this place, you got to re-engage and get the feel of what's happening, tell the story, and share the word. I like to recruit every single day of the year for this university, and it's already begun. So we're thrilled, we're blessed, and I believe the future is incredibly bright, Andrew.